Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible day, and may peace be upon you. And welcome to the show. It Takes Courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. And today's episode is called Let Her Speak, Let Her Lead. And I'm really blessed to be joined by an incredible group of women from Global Girls Glow management team. And Global Girls Glow is a nonprofit dedicated to empowering girls worldwide through safe spaces, mentorship, and girl lead program. They help young women build confidence, leadership skills, and the courage to raise their voices and create positive change in their communities. And their unique approach to nurture brave, compassionate leaders of tomorrow. So let's take a look at what Global Girls Glow is all about.
In communities around the world and even in the United States, girls face challenging barriers to achieving their potential. Barriers to education, economic opportunity, basic health needs, and education about their bodies. Girls know what girls need, and at Global Glow, we listen. We give them the support and tools to advocate for themselves and for their communities. The simple truth: educating and empowering girls is the single best investment we can make to bring about a more just, equitable, and flourishing world. Global Glow is a nonprofit organization that creates and operates innovative mentoring programs for girls ages 10 to 18. Since 2012, we've been working with local community leaders across the U.S. and in over 27 countries worldwide. Through girl-led initiatives, leadership opportunities, and our work with the United Nations, we amplify girls' voices to drive social change. Right now, in Global Glow Clubs worldwide, there are over 15,000 girls gaining confidence, speaking out, and transforming their communities. These girls are tomorrow's leaders. They are the best investment we can make in our future. Join us today. Let's remove the barriers that are holding girls back. To support our work or learn more about what we do, please visit our website. We are Global Glow.
Okay, that's a fantastic video introduction to Global Girls Glow, and it just brings me to emotion seeing the girls and their faces and what we could provide when we come together. So let me bring the beautiful, amazing team of Global Girls Glow up to our stage here. So we have Adrienne, we have Catherine, we have Courtney, and we also have our youth advocate, Taylor. So very quickly, Adrienne is our vice president for the programs. Courtney is the vice president for engagement and communications. Catherine is the program officer in Latin America. And then Taylor is our youth advocate. So welcome today. Thank you for joining me today, ladies.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's my pleasure. So let's, touch base with Adrienne first of all. So now the ladies have said hi to everybody. I'm gonna put the room in. I'm gonna focus on Adrienne, and then the rest of the ladies are gonna be on the green room. So don't worry, they're gonna be here in a moment. So just gotta give the spotlight back to Adrienne. So let me quickly put everything. No. Put everyone in the green room. So don't worry. Here we are. Okay, Adrienne. Now it's you and me on the spotlight. So, Adrienne, let's dive straight in. In your leadership role, especially as the vice president for programs, what have you found to be the most critical ingredient in creating a safe, brave space for where girls can express their voices, where they can feel empowered, where they can share their thoughts and feelings?
I'm so glad you asked that question. It's a really good question because it matters. So coming from a programmatic point of view in my role, I would say that the key ingredient to a safe and brave space is trust. And trust is something that is built with great intention. And so we can't just leave it to happenstance that trust is established in a Glow Club. We have to be strategic in how it is developed and built in. So one of the ways that we do that, and the primary way we do that, is through our mentor training, because mentors are the adults in the room, the trusted adults in the room that facilitate clubs. And so some of the things that we train them on in order to build trust, not only between themselves and girls in clubs, but also to build that peer-to-peer trust, is to define their roles as facilitators rather than teachers or authority figures, so that girls feel more comfortable sharing and opening up and being vulnerable. They are also trained to facilitate discussions that establish safe space agreements very early on in the Glow Club experience, so that when girls can sort of name and claim what our rules of engagement are and then hold themselves to that standard, then what we're doing is we're modeling respect for one another and then consistency. We also train our mentors on what we call power shifting. So inviting girls to make decisions in club, to lead discussions and activities. And sometimes these are the only places where girls in parts of the world ever have that opportunity. So it's very important that girls lead in the Glow Club space. We train them on active listening, giving constant affirmations and validations to show that each girl's voice matters. And we also train on trauma-informed approaches, which is really important because sometimes girls come to Glow Club with trauma. And mentors have to know how to approach those situations, knowing what girls' boundaries are, respecting those boundaries and maintaining boundaries, as well as confidentiality. So when girls, excuse me, what was that?
No, absolutely. I was just saying that.
Yes. But what I know, and I'll just sort of sum it up, is when mentors apply these training in the club setting and do it really well, what we see is that there's a real acceleration in girls' confidence and power. And we have thousands of stories from all over the world that show that the trust that is inherent in a space in order to make it safe and brave can have transformative impact, transformative effects in girls' confidence and power.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Like having the word trust, which is often being either overused or underused. The word trust itself, and creating the mentor as a facilitator instead of the boss. Okay, this is what you need to do. You do this, this, and this. And leading them, training them, and creating that open space so that the girls feel some form of faith or confidence to make decisions, even to share something. I think that is so unique on what you're saying, Adrian. And I wish I could take notes here and now, because my son abroad plays ice hockey. So I have in a way volunteered myself to do activities like team building activities, and that takes trust. Like even when you're adult, automatically there's some form of trust between you and a bunch of 14-year-olds because you're kind of seen as that. But thank you so much for sharing your point about facilitating and giving them the power to make the decisions and, for them to initiate certain things on their end as well. So thank you so much for that heads up, Adrian, and trust. It is such a big deal. And thank you for reminding us for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Adrian, I'm gonna pop you in the green room, and I'm gonna bring your colleague up. Okay, so stay with us because we all gonna come back towards the end. Okay, so now I have my next special guest, which is Courtney. Let's bring Courtney up. And Courtney, while I still remember, let's say hello to your mom.
Yes,
What's
hello,
your mom's
Mom.
name?
Hello, Mom, and all the women who inspire us.
Beautiful. What's your mom's name, Courtney?
Her name is Elaine, which is also my middle name.
Brilliant. So hi, Elaine, and hi to all of our moms, and also hi to all the moms that are watching this, and all the soon-to-be moms as well. So Courtney, I know that we could talk about our moms all day long, but
Yes.
let's focus on our intention today because you are the Vice President for Engagement and Communication. So let's talk about the data and stories that you have seen, and what measurable changes have happened that you have seen when girls are given the space and support to speak and lead. Because Adrian mentioned before, in some countries, in some cultures, girls are not allowed to speak or to be seen or to have an opinion. They are expected to just take it and do it, and just, there's no if and buts about it. So what will be some measurable changes that you have seen, if you have the data or the stories that you can share?
Oh, yes, so many stories. It's really hard to narrow it down, actually. And I think Adrian described so well just the value of the trust and the work that goes into these programs. There's just so much intention behind the way the girls are supported. And as a result, we see really incredible things. A survey that we conducted in India, for example, found that 100% of our Glow Club members reported significant improvements in their self-awareness, their decision-making, relationship skills, leadership skills, advocacy, and just so many more important areas. Stephanie is a Glow Club member in Kenya, and we have a quote from her. She said, "In Glow Club, I've learned to be confident, courageous, and how to express myself in public." Or Sofan, our Glow Club member in Cambodia, told us that I felt that I have power when I joined Glow Club, and I am confident and I can express myself more than before and advocate for myself. So there's nothing better than hearing from the girls themselves that they see the value of these skills that they're building, but we're also finding that their own skills and growth are also impacting the communities that they are part of. For example, also in India, our Glow girls provided menstrual health education and led workshops for their own community. They reached 600 women and girls and provided skills. In Nigeria, Glow Girls led a weekly radio program, and they raised awareness about the harmful effects of female genital mutilation and other health-related topics. They reached 100 girls with information that they wouldn't have had otherwise. In Rwanda, there were Glow girls who worked with parents and community leaders to tackle the issue of school dropouts and attendance, and really challenge that there are systemic barriers to education. And 60 girls were brought back to school because of that program. Another one that means so much to me, in Sierra Leone, Glow Girls led a weekly radio program, and they raised awareness about the devastating effects of child marriage. 10,000 people listened weekly, and as a result of this and many other pieces, child marriage was officially banned in Sierra Leone in 2024. So we know that not only do these programs impact the girls themselves, but when girls lead, change happens, and it's just so exciting to be part of that.
Brilliant. I mean, that is so wonderful to hear in Sierra Leone on the impact that it could have of banning child marriages. And and so like menstruating information and kind of disseminating that information across the community. And speaking about what you say, when girls lead, changes happen. And for us to allow for girls to lead, it takes something, right? It takes a change. So what Adrian was saying, it takes a facilitator, or it takes a program, it takes approach, it takes a trust. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm making an assumption that the facilitating isn't just a one-off kind of thing. I'm guessing that for you to have those kind of like rippling effect, it needs to be a continuous thing. It can't just be like a one-off 1 hour training. Hello, hi, this is what this is about. This is how you can speak up with courage. But it takes trust, what Adrian was saying. It also takes constant advocation, constant love, constant training. So, Courtney, let's talk about those rippling effects that it can have. Was that something that the girls actually envisioned, or was it something that naturally, organically happened as a result of them speaking up?
Yes, we actually, through Glow Clubs, also have programs for girl-led advocacy. So we want to make sure that the structure exists for them to have their good ideas and then do something with it. And as you mentioned, the power of mentorship is different than like seeing a speaker one time and being inspired and learning something. Mentorship is about that ongoing relationship. And so when you can not only build that into your club, but then you also can come to this organization and because of that trust say, what do I do with this idea? How do we, look at our community and maybe try to tackle some of these issues? And so our advocacy programs really allow for that to happen.
That is fantastic. And like Global Girls Grow is a nonprofit organization, so they do rely on support from community members like ourselves. And if you're so inclined to support the Glow Girls Club activities, mentorship program, go ahead and scan the QR code or go to the Global Girls Glow website and to donate or find out more, or even connect with any of these beautiful ladies.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Courtney. All right, I'm going to pop you into the backstage at the green room for a moment while I bring your colleagues. So stay tuned, okay, Courtney? Okay, so next I would like to invite Catherine to the stage. And Catherine is the program officer in Latin America. So Catherine, let's go straight to the point here. And you work closely with the programs, like kind of like getting your hands dirty in some way. Can you share one example of how listening first, instead of straight away leading, has made all the difference into the girls' leadership journey?
Yes, I know Courtney and Adrian says that it's a little difficult to just get one story because we have so many. I think there are so many stories that could share, but one that comes to my mind right now, it's from Huanchaco. Huanchaco is a small fishing town in Peru where the sea is the heart of everything in there. The sea gives food and jobs, and it's really part of the daily life for the Huanchaco people in our clubs in Peru. So the first time I visit our clubs in Peru, is when I met Valeria. Valeria, she just have joined our program. She's a 14-year-old girl full of curiosity and energy, but also a little unsure about her place in the club. I feel so many girls start in our program quietly at first, only observing and listening, and that's okay, because what matters is that we listen to them too. This year, mentors ask, what would you like to change in your community? Valeria noticed that the sea that she loved was being polluted. So instead of telling her what to do, we just listen. And I feel after that, something amazing happened. Valeria and her club just gathered. They coordinate a march, they make signs, and they even create a chant. When the sea calls you, the girls respond. I feel during that march in Huanchaco that never seen before, the girls were proud and brave and full of energy. And I think her courage inspired other people, her friends, and even people in the town to just kind of speak up about this problematic that they have. I think this story is really important and shows why listening it's valuable for the girls, because when we start with our own assumptions as adults, we might miss what it's meaningful for the girls. But when we listen first, we really give them this space to discover their own power, make decisions, and really take actions that we can see have a ripple effect in their community. Again, across our Latin American programs, I've seen this trend repeat again and again. Girls stepping forward, taking the lead, and inspire people around them. But I think it always starts with us as an adults listening to the girls. So that's where.
That's exciting, but it's also hard, right, to listen first, especially as an adult, because you think you know better, or you think like, you have an experience, you've lived this earth for 30 years, 40 years, how many years, like, you know how things should go, what things should happen. And that's always the hardest thing, to listen. Even myself as a mom of 3 kids, it's hard for me to listen to my kids at times when they say, no, I don't want to do this. So I think that is so great that the facilitator at Global Girls Globe are trained to the very least of listening and asking, like what you were saying, Catherine, like, what do you want to do? Or what are the issues that you are facing? And allow them to reflect, think, being creative, going deep, and just sharing. And then the insights of how to solve that problems comes from the space that was created for listening and the creativity. And like Courtney was saying, that you also facilitate, okay, this is your dream, this is what you see the issues or advocate on. What are you going to do to make it happen? Or how are you going to help the community, and kind of like supporting the goals for that. With that, Catherine, let's take a look at a quick video of Sangeeta, okay? So let me pop Sangeeta here.
नमस्ते, मेरो नाम संगीता कोर हो। म 13 वर्ष भयो। म चाहिँ गाउँमा चाहिँ मान्छेहरुको धेरै पुरानो सोच हुन्छ, उनीहरुलाई त पछि भविष्यमा गएर कति भन्छन् केटी केटा केटी केटा भन्छन्। केटीले समाजमा धेरै बाधाहरु हुन्छ नि, केटीले यो गर्नु हुँदैन, केटीले त्यो गर्नु हुँदैन, केटीले यस्तो गर्नु हुन्न, यस्तो बोल्नु हुन्न, यसरी बस्नुपर्छ, के त्यो सब चाहिँ पहिला त जे पनि राइट हो जस्तो लाग्थ्यो। अनि त यो पनि गलत हो, त्यो पनि गलत हो, यो पनि गलत हो जस्तो लाग्थ्यो, राइट हो जस्तो लाग्थ्यो। तर अहिले त म सबै के गलत के सही भनेर छुटाउन सक्छु। अनि पछि ममा चाहिँ कन्फिडेन्स बढेको छ। अहिले जसले केटी भनेर केटाकेटी भनेर हेप्छन्, अनि मेरो बाबालाई चाहिँ जसले उ गरेछन् नि, त्यसलाई चाहिँ म तिनीहरूलाई देखाउन चाहन्छु कि यसको छोरी जस्तो हुनुपर्छ है, हामीले पनि यस्तो केटी हुनुपर्छ, केटी केटा भएर के भएर केटा। यो मेरो ग्लो क्लबले चाहिँ मेरो मात्र जीवनमा परिवर्तन नभएर धेरै केटीहरूको र धेरै अन्य ठाउँहरुमा पनि धेरै चेन्जेस ल्याएको छ। त्यसको लागि चाहिँ ग्लो क्लबलाई भेरी भेरी थ्यांक यू सो मच। ग्लो क्लबलाई चाहिँ जति तारिफ गरे नि पुग्दैन। ग्लो क्लब चाहिँ सबै स्कुलहरुमा, सबै देशमा, सबै ठाउँमा हुनुपर्छ भन्ने जस्तो लाग्छ।
To echo Sangeeta, very, very, very thank you so much, Glow Club, for all the effort. And how does that make you feel, Catherine, when seeing the girls in the video leading, seeing them taking action, seeing them helping the peers and community? How does it make you feel, as a person and also as part of the Global Girls Glow team?
It makes me feel inspired. I think I say it every day. I come to work to learn from the girls, because they are the ones that have the power. They understand what they need. And we're just here to listen and to allow them and help them in this process of just kind of growing.
Absolutely. And you'll be surprised, right, when you just allow them to be, how creative they are, how expressive they are, how problem solving they are, how understanding they are. So thank you for that. And Sangeeta's video just reminded me, because she said that, in some parts of the world, girls are told they can't do this, they can't do that, they can only do certain things. And it just reminded me of, I went to Malaysia for the summer, and I had like a physiotherapist, working on me. Yeah. And the physiotherapist actually told me in one of our many conversations that she actually wanted to be a civil engineer, but her dad was like, no, that's not a job for girls. It's a men's job. So she ended up being a physical therapist. But I wonder, Catherine, how does it feel for girls to actually be able to live the dream that they want, to be a civil engineer. So, just like a food for thought for those of you who are listening. If you want to be a civil engineer and, you can't because you're a girl, let's change that perception and definition, and for the community as well to kind of support that vision and dream. I mean, for all we know, we need more female civil engineers that can give a fresh perspective on something important. So thank you so much, Catherine. I'll pop you back in the green room and I'll bring you back shortly, okay? All righty. So now let's come back to Courtney to touch base with us regarding okay, welcome back, Courtney.
Yes.
And say hi to Elaine, the mom, and to all of our moms in case she missed it the first time.
That's right.
Yes. So, okay, Courtney, what are some of the most effective ways communities and mentors can engage with girls to truly uplift them and not just, amplify them, but see how it can be expanded and timeless?
That is, I think that's such an important question, because there is a difference, right, between listening to a girl's story and actually empowering her and making sure she is actively involved in creating the better world that she will be valued in and capable of leading in. And that's really what brings me to Glow. I think it is such an incredible model that the programming we lead, the work Adrienne and her team do, is really built on equipping girls with 3 key capabilities: agency, voice, and power. So agency, when girls recognize that they can actually make their own decisions about their future and well-being, even if society tells them otherwise, which we know unfortunately is the case, can be the case so often. For example, in Kenya, Alice was 18 years old when she escaped the harmful cultural practice of female genital mutilation. And after participating in Glow Club, she found the courage to return home and rescue her younger sister from the same fate. She now views herself as an advocate. She really is determined that she wants to rescue more girls and use that agency within her community. And then our program provides girls with opportunities to use their voice. So practice expressing themselves, speaking up for what they believe in. You can practice that in our safe environments, and then you can go out in the world, right, and use that voice even greater. In India, for example, after developing some skills in Glow Club, Simran began challenging gender norms at home by asking her mother why she, as a daughter, is expected to complete household chores while her brother is not. And so Simran decided to act to determine her own future, even in her own home environment, even with her own family, but just realized that she would need to say something. She would need to have the skills to speak up for herself if anything was ever going to change. And then when girls recognize that, when they recognize that they can advocate for themselves, when they are comfortable actually speaking up for themselves, then there is so much power that comes from that, right? They get to now actually have a self-determined life. And that's something we see examples of every day. In Malawi, for example, Christine is one of our Glow Club girls who really advocated for more inclusive facilities for people like herself who are living with disabilities. Or in Nepal, one of our Glow girls, Safata, is just really working to eliminate period stigma in her community. So combining those 3, agency, voice, and power, I think is just this beautiful recipe for how girls are now not only being heard, but are also really being amplified and being empowered.
Beautiful said, Courtney. And speaking of India, my husband and I, my family lived in India before. That's when my daughter Nada was born. And when you mentioned Simran talking about doing chores, I can already imagine like India, and then the households, and then the family and the community, because having that connection of living there, knowing, what the community is like, knowing the perceptions and all that. And I can just imagine my daughter Nada, who was born in India, having that conversation. Not to say that girls shouldn't do chores, right, Courtney?
Right.
Just to be clear.
Just to be clear.
It's not about girls like running away, not doing chores.
Yes.
It's about advocating, hey, I'm doing the chores, but why isn't my brother not doing the chores as well? And he's eating on the plate. He wears the clothes. He needs to do laundry as well. So just to be clear, girls and boys, that you all needs to be doing chores. For that matter. Okay, Courtney. So that is like so exciting, like agency, power, and what was the last one?
And
Courtney?
voice. And voice.
Agency, power, and voice, which is so important, having these three elements or ingredients to create a rippling effect. Because what Courtney mentioned as well, there needs to be skills on how you express yourself and not just throwing a tantrum like, I don't want to do chores or screaming. That's not the way of having a positive rippling effect in terms of the change. So speaking of our youth and girls, let's bring up our youth advocate who has went through the Global School program. So I'm going to pop you in back to the green stage first for a second. Okay, Courtney? All right, let's bring Taylor, and who is one of who went through the program of Global Girls Glow. It's so exciting to see Taylor advocating and speaking for herself and here. And I was just told that Taylor is actually in college. This is actually her first day in college. So welcome, Taylor, and thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Okay, Taylor. So we've heard Courtney, we've heard Adrian, we've heard Catherine talking about the Global Girls Go Club, the program, the advocacy, the method, the facilitator. But of course, that we still want to see the proof in the pudding. And so you're the proof in the pudding here. And tell us, what gave you the courage to speak up, and what advice would you give to other girls who want to lead but are afraid to use their voice?
That is such a great question. So, honestly, Glow Club gave me the courage to speak up. My first day in the club, my mentor, who's also my English teacher, Mrs. Brooks, she made us read up on all the issues that girls were experiencing around the world, and she made us take notes and have conversations about it. And it basically enlightened me and showed me that we're not only experiencing issues here, but there's issues going on all over the world where girls are too scared to come out and talk about these issues. Before Glow Club, I've always been very outspoken. There's been times where I was a little scared, but I still spoke up anyway because I'm just a very extroverted person. But with that, like Global Glow basically taught me that speaking up more and encouraging those around you who are too scared to speak up can make not only a change within your community, but within other communities as well, and these other countries as well, where they're also experiencing issues. So I would say that if you are scared to speak up, you have a community and you have girls standing behind you, especially Glow Club, use your voice, because as I said earlier, it can make a change not only in your community, but in others as well. And what's more important than that?
Absolutely. And Taylor, it doesn't have to be like a big thing, right? When you speak up your voice, it can just be your thought. It can just be an idea. It can just be anything. But what Taylor is encouraging is just to share your thought. And,
exactly.
And if you're in a safe, nurturing, loving space, like your thought would not be discounted, as in that people are not going to say, oh, that's stupid, kind of thing. So it's important to, like Global Girls Glow, that created a safe space for girls to express themselves, no matter how silly they sound, no matter if, if other people think are stupid. And I feel that that's what has allowed yourself and the other girls around the world to kind of like say, hey, I think X, Y, and Z. I think these are the issues, because your English teacher made you read up on all the issues that girls are having, right?
Right.
Brilliant. Okay, so Taylor, let's bring up the remainder of the ladies as we wrap up our conversation here. Have a look. Okay, ladies, I just wanted to say thank you for being here and for sharing your thoughts, your methods, your process, your ideas, and also for Taylor to really be here and holding the space of being the proof in the pudding, because talk is cheap. Like Catherine and Courtney could just be talking about the principles and the methods of wonderful things, but it doesn't even matter if we're not seeing what we want to see or empowering at least one girl. And thank God Global Girls Glow over the years has empowered hundreds and thousands of girls. So ladies, let's end with this one thing. Impact in the community are made when, so fill in the blanks. Impact in the community are made when. We'll start with Adrian. Impact in the community are made when.
When girls impact in the community, I'm thinking through all the ways in which I've seen it, deciding which one to share.
Yeah.
Impact in the community is made when a girl can change how her mother views the treatment of women and girls. And I say that because sometimes you see that girls' mothers will come to Glow Club and then they'll share with us that this is the first time I've heard something like this, or this has really changed everything for me. And then they begin to sort of embody some of the things that we teach girls in Glow Club. So to me, I just think it's beautiful when you sort of see like that just immediate step. So girls are using their voice, they're discovering their confidence and agency, and then the ripple effect to the family. I just think that that's impact that I love to see.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. The impact of changing the perception of the mother or the family, and then having that being expanded. Okay, Catherine, impact in the community are made when. I might have rephrased it a little bit, but it's kind of like a similar thing. Impact in the community happens when.
Impact in the community happens when girls are empowered to lead and shine and leave others with them. Again, as Adrian was saying, and Courtney just gives so many examples, and some of my stories too is just like when we see girls all together, come together with purpose, share their strengths, and they take actions for a common good.
Brilliant. Yeah, when they come together, when they're allowed to express themselves. And I feel like just before that, when they are allowed to be listened to, for that space to be created. So thank you so much for that, Catherine. Okay, Courtney, impact in the community happen when?
When you tell girls yes. There are so many times that other girls, that other women have been told no. And when you say yes and you open that door, incredible things happen.
Yes, when you tell girls yes. I think that should be our next book for GGG.
Yes.
When you tell girls yes, right? But just to be clear, yes to like not escaping doing the chores, but when you tell girls yes and empower them to create brave, incredible, amazing things, including doing their chores, including boys and girls doing their chores as well. So I love it when you tell girls yes. I think that should be like the book moving forward, when you tell girls yes. Okay, Taylor, impact in the community happens when?
Impact in the community happens when girls have a safe space to uplift one another. That's something that Glow Club taught me. It's sometimes we just need a space to be able to just talk and to be and to experience that sisterhood. And when girls uplift one another and we empower and speak light into one another, it amplifies our voices, because those who may be too shy, they usually end up like getting the courage to speak about these issues and make a change.
Brilliant when girls have a safe space and then they can share their voices. And I feel like people often underestimate our job as girls and as women. I feel like if you're a mom, you're kind of like the glue of the family. You kind of keep the stronghold of the family. And even at school, like I see my own kids' school, majority of the teachers are women teachers. So can't we have an important role for the community? And even if we can do something simple that can spark changes, you just never know the rippling effect that you can have just by having a safe space and then speaking up with graciousness, with courage, being unapologetic, but also having compassion when you speak up and not just putting people down. So thank you so much, Global Skills Glow, the management team. Thank you so much, Adrian, Catherine, Courtney, Taylor, and also thank you also to Laura for facilitating this conversation. It's just so nice to hear and see the people behind the scenes that makes all the magics happen. So everybody, thank you so much, and we will see you in the next episode. And remember, it takes courage when you create the space for others to be listened to. Until the next episode, this is your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, may peace be upon you. And quoting Courtney, when you tell girls yes. When you tell girls and boys yes. All right, everybody, take care and see you in the next episode. Let's say bye, everybody.